Are you ready to make big progress on your home today in a short amount of time? If so, you're in the right place. Hey, Clutterbugs, welcome back to the Clutterbug podcast. I'm so excited to have you here today. I'm going to be your clutter coach for this podcast. I'm really going to motivate you, push you, and keep you company while you tackle things in your home because we should always do something today to make tomorrow us happy, to make our lives tomorrow a little bit easier. And that's what this is about. This is about taking some burden off yourself, loving the tomorrow you, because that girl, she's your best friend, or that guy, best friend. So, what can we do today? And while you're listening to this podcast, I really want you to take action. I don't want you to just passively listen. I want you to get up and do something. And if you had planned on putting away laundry or cleaning, I really want to challenge you to do a short little exercise with me first, just to like jumpstart the mojo and see a really big difference. If you are watching this podcast on my YouTube channel, I still want you to do this where you are right now. Maybe you could, move me around with you if you're watching on a mobile device. But if you're watching on a computer or a television, we can still take action in the room that you're in. And I also am excited to teach you a little bit about identity clutter, what it is, why it's so hard, and a few tricks of how we can overcome it. But first, we're going to start with a little trash bag therapy. I call this trash bag therapy because this exercise is so therapeutic. It's something that you can do in a few minutes and instantly feel better. And not only that, your home's going to look better and it's going to be easier to take care of, but this requires zero like emotional engagement. It's not stressful. It's not overwhelming. We don't have to make hard decisions. We're just looking for trash. And I know you hear this from a lot of experts all the time, and that's because it works. That's because this is where you should always start. And even if you've decluttered for years and you declutter all the time, like I am constantly decluttering, I still do trash bag therapy on a regular basis because it's bonkadonks what you can find. And more importantly, the incredible power that comes with trash bag therapy is this instant boost in confidence, in motivation. You just feel great because your brain is releasing tons of dopamine and serotonin because you've completed a task. Getting started is the hardest part by far. So grab a trash bag, and here's what we're looking for together right now. Get up, friends. Get up. We're not just going to sit and listen. You're going to get up. You're going to grab a trash bag because you can either have excuses or you can have results, but you can't have both. Today is the day that we get up and we take action. Instead of like one day, it's day one today. You ready? Grab that trash bag. I want you to look in drawers, any drawers, wherever you are, drawers, cabinets, and we're just looking for trash. And I find this mostly in my kids' room, but also kind of all over the place. Wrappers, old receipts, things that are broken. It is totally a human nature to be done with something. And if there's not like a trash can close at hand, to kind of hide and shove or put something for later somewhere. Maybe like it's a receipt. Maybe we're going to return something. And 10 years later, that receipt is still there. So we need to go through and do this like quick trash look. If you're in the kitchen, look in the pantry, look in the fridge. Guarantee there's nasty leftovers. Guarantee there's expired sauces. We're not spending a ton of time. We're not taking everything out. We're not sorting. We're not making piles. We are literally just grabbing trash and throwing it out. And if you're like, Cass, some of this is recycling. I got to recycle. I got to wash this out. Everything goes in the bag for now. You, if you have the capacity, can sort the bag later into paper, plastics. You can wash things out. But for now, it's about motivation, it's about momentum, and it's about results. So everything's going into one bag. I promise you, this is not more work. You are actually going to save time doing this. So look in that pantry. Do you have moldy bread? Bag. Do you have cereal that's like, your kids have eaten and they've put the box back, but there's two crumbs in there and it's not enough for a bowl? Gone. Gone, gone, gone. We're going quickly. And I always, like I said, find a ton of stuff in bedroom drawers, bedside tables. I've found dirty Kleenexes, gum wrappers, candy wrappers, the tags off clothing. So if we get new clothing and we just like instantly put it away and we haven't actually washed it first, my bad. We do that sometimes in this family. We rip the tag off and we throw it in a drawer. I have no idea why. That's just something we do. So all these little bits of trash add up to a home that's harder to care for. So get up, come on, we got this. Start like a crazy person, like your butt's on fire, running through your home and finding trash. We can do this for 5, 10, 15 minutes. That's all you need to do. We don't have to completely fill a trash bag. We don't have to do the entire house. This is just about getting that momentum, getting those mojo, that decluttering mojo, that house cleaning energy started and seeing a really big impact. Okay, so you're doing that. I'm proud of you. Whenever you feel like you want to stop the trash bag therapy, that's okay. We're moving on to something else, whether it's light decluttering, light tidying, maybe we're straightening. We are not taking everything out and making a mess and sorting into piles. That is not what you're doing. We are making progress and only progress today with me. That's what we're doing. We are tackling something fast. Today, my daughter was running late for school. She has like face oil. It knocked off her dresser and poured everywhere. She was rushing. She literally stepped in it. She was like walking around her room. There's oil all footprints all over. She walked down the hall, which is carpeted. Eek, I know. Down the stairs. She forgot something, ran back up the stairs with her oily socks. She left, went to school. I came out of my bedroom and there was oily footprints everywhere. Every freaking where. And instantly I'm like, okay, she's going to have to clean this when she gets home. But in the meantime, the dog's stepping in it, my husband's stepping in it, I'm stepping in it, and we continue to spread. And I thought for a second, this is going to take forever. I don't have time for this right now. This is ridiculous. I'm going to wait till later. But whenever I catch myself doing that procrastination, that putting a problem off for later me, I realize that that's such a really ignorant, mean thing to do to future me. I have the time right now. We tackle it right now. Right now. We can wipe it now or we can scrub it later. So if you are noticing spills, if you are noticing a little something and it takes you 10 seconds or less, do it now. Do it now, friends. Okay, so I grabbed a pail, I filled it with some dish soap and a rag. I ran upstairs, I wiped her desk, I picked up some junk off the floor, I quickly wiped her floor. I backed up while doing it all the way down. I didn't do the carpet, but then I did the stairs. And guess what? It was 6 minutes. 6 minutes. All the oil was cleaned up and it's not tracked through the whole house by everybody else. This was something that inside me, real life Cass, everything was screaming like, oh, this is a disaster. It's a huge mess. It's going to take forever. No, do it later. Do it later. Do the hard stuff later. Doing the hard stuff now is actually the easy way out. That's what I've found. Doing the hard stuff now is the easy way out. So trash bag therapy, get that mojo started. And if you notice something and you're like, I've been putting this off until I can do it perfect. I've been putting this off till I have the time. I've been putting this off because, it just feels horrible and I don't really want to. But if you can do it for just a few seconds, it doesn't have to be done. Do it now. Do it now. And another amazing thing, this is a great technique that my ADHD therapist told me that can really be helpful because I struggle with motivation. I struggle to get started. I struggle with keeping focused so much. He said to me, if you start things in the background that will like automated cleaning things, you you instantly feel like you're doing something. You feel like you've gotten started, which gives you that momentum because it does. It gives you that little boost of serotonin, that little bit of dopamine that can help you keep chugging along. And it also helps keep you focused because something else is cleaning in the background. So start the dishwasher. Maybe it's not a 100% full load. Can you run around the house and find dishes, throw them all in, and start the dishwasher anyways? Can you throw in a load of laundry and just start that load of laundry? That's cleaning, friends. But it isn't you having to do it. And while these are running in the background, now we can look at this as like we're doing two things at once. I'm throwing a lot at you. You're probably still doing trash bag therapy or whatever you're doing, but I want to throw these techniques at you. So while you're listening to this, while you're taking action, you're thinking in the future of other things that you can do to really get the mojo going, to keep that momentum and to get yourself up and getting started. It's tough. It sucks. Housework sucks. It's a never ending, thankless job. And I get frustrated as well. I mean, I'm telling you guys all the time, like, oh, it's so great. And it doesn't take that long. And that is true. It's easier than it was before, 1,000 times easier than it was before. But I still get frustrated. I don't want to do the dishes. I want a day off. I don't want to do the laundry. I want a break. I want to just sit and watch a movie and chill. That's not fair to tomorrow me. It's not fair because now tomorrow me has double the work or triple the work. And I wouldn't treat a stranger like that. I certainly wouldn't treat my best friend like that. I wouldn't put more work on her tomorrow so I don't have to do it today. So why the heck am I treating myself like that? So I just do a little bit so that her life is easier tomorrow. And unfortunately, she doesn't get to do nothing tomorrow. I mean, some days I get to do nothing, but most of the time there's little still crap to do. Let's be totally honest. But I'm no longer burdening her. I'm not stealing tomorrow's happiness for today because it only makes it worse. It makes it so much harder. And this is a lesson I had to learn the hard way over and over and over again. But I remind myself of this so that my life tomorrow is never hard. So, like, every day isn't hard. Does that make sense? Like, if I keep doing a little tiny bit every day as a favor to tomorrow me, guess what? Today is easier because yesterday was nice to me, and the day after, and the day after, and the day after. And it compounds. And it's one of my favorite mantras that makes my life easier. Trash bag therapy, gift to tomorrow you. Putting away the laundry, gift to tomorrow you. Doing those dishes, gift to tomorrow you. And at the same time, gift to today. Gift to today us. You don't got to work 24/7, friends. You don't have to work all day. You just got to work a little bit right now. Okay, let's talk for a second about identity clutter because really there are 5 types of clutter that really hold you up, make your home look out of control, but are also really difficult to let go of. And clutter, in this instance, we're talking about clutter as things you're not using and loving, but also things that are kind of laying all over your surfaces. Some of that stuff is probably not technically clutter, right? But for this podcast, we're calling it clutter. We're calling clutter things that you're not using and loving. So those could be things that are away. They could be in drawers and in cabinets, or they could be laying on your surfaces or in a pile on a floor or filling an entire spare bedroom. But also, we're identifying clutter as good things that you do love and that you do use, but are laying out and not in their home. And so really there are 5 types of clutter. We have guilty clutter, fantasy clutter, homeless clutter, lazy clutter, and identity clutter. And I've made lots of videos talking about that, but I really want to focus today on identity clutter because it's a big one and it's really, really hard to let go of. So as you're listening, as you're working, you're going to be learning at the same time. Identity clutter is things in our home that we see as an extension of us. They are objects that at some point in our life, or maybe even today, at this point right now, are something that go along with part of our identity that give us a lot of pride in ourselves. And this could be past pride or it could be current pride. And the best way to describe identity clutter is to give you examples. If you are someone who loves to read and you pride yourself on being well read or well educated, books are often an extension of that and identity clutter. So, any type of book, whether you actually enjoyed reading the book or not, because you identify as a book lover, because you identify as someone who's well read, because this is truly part of your personality and part of something about yourself that you love and that you're proud of. Therefore, the objects that reinforce that about your identity are seen as an extension of yourself. So, letting go of books when you identify as a book lover and this is part of your core identity is so hard because it feels like you're taking a piece of yourself in some weird way. It really does. Again, even if it's a book you don't love and you really don't like have any attachment to it, just the fact that it's a book makes it identity clutter and therefore makes it hard to let go of. And this, when we talk about identity clutter, it could be so many different things. For me, I really identify as a crafter. I love crafting. I love being creative and making things. And therefore, any type of craft supply feels hard to let go of because it feels like, well, I'm crafty and I can make something out of that. And craft supplies are important to me. Crafting is an extension of myself. It's part of me that makes me so proud. And so it's really hard to let go of craft supplies, even though I know I'm not going to crochet, even though I know I'm not going to make jewelry anymore. I haven't done it in years. It feels almost impossible to let go of. So think about your own life, and I'm going to give you more examples. But again, I hope you're doing stuff while you listen, friends. Get up, get moving. Let's do some things. Let's make yourself proud. Let's give a gift to tomorrow you. Come on. We only have a few more minutes. We have like 15 more minutes together. Make it count. Make it count. Do something while you're listening to this or while you're watching this. Okay. Another really super common form of identity clutter is baby or kids stuff, toys, clothing, whatever it is, because we have children. And as mothers, we really pride ourselves on being good moms. We have a lot of wonderful memories attached to young children. And as our kids grow and need us less, it's actually quite painful. Sometimes it's also awesome, but it's also quite painful, especially if a lot of our identity is wrapped up in being a mom. I see this compounded and even more extreme with stay-at-home moms, homeschooling moms, where you don't have maybe a career outside of the home. So a big portion of your identity is tied with being a mother to small children, providing for them, taking care of them, teaching them. And therefore, all their toys, all their things, all their learning tools feel like a piece of you that makes you the most proud. It's also hard because it's sentimental. But if we really dig deep, lower, below the sentimentality of the memories attached and the fact that, oh, it's our kids and we're like, oh, I love that part. I don't want to forget those cherished times. a little deeper than that. It's this is me. I'm a mom. This is the part of me that I'm proud of, and a mom to babies and a mom to toddlers. And if I let that stuff go, am I no longer a mom to babies and toddlers? So even though, and I see this so many times with clients, even though the children are grown or older, maybe they're entering their teenage years and they don't have any plans on having more children, they still feel it feels impossible to let go of the baby toys or the toddler toys or the things that were used during that phase of life, because it feels then what am I? If I'm letting go of this and I'm not a mom to little kids, then who am I? Then what am I? And so you hold on extra tight. And I've seen this over and over and over again. I've seen this with sporting equipment. I had a client who was really into skiing and did cross country skiing and did downslope skiing, I guess it was called, and won, you know, medals and competed professionally, hurt their knee, could no longer ski, were not using the skis, had lots of other memories like photos and medals and trophies to really remember that. But letting go of the actual skis and all the ski equipment that came with it, that was completely filling the garage, even though it had been like 15 years since it was used and it wasn't going to be used again, felt like ripping that identity away from that person, like admitting, like, I'm no longer that person. And that feels so hard. I could give you a million examples of identity clutter, whether you're a teacher and it's teaching supplies. I used to run a daycare, getting rid of the supplies that I use the flashcards to teach them their letters and to read and to teach them their animal sounds, and the hand puppets that I used to teach them everything. That was such a, I was so proud of myself. That was such a, I use those tools to do something really amazing that I identified as a part of me as a teacher, as a daycare teacher. And years later, I mean, it was like 10 years after I had ran the daycare, I finally let those things go and I cried my eyeballs out. It's weird. Identity clutter is weird, and we don't have to get rid of everything when it comes to our identity, but we can't keep everything. So here is something that I really want you to remember if you are noticing that perhaps this is part of you too. Grandparents keeping every grandkid's picture, right? So if you love to cook, you pride yourself on being a great cook. You have every kitchen gadget known to man, every type of spice. You love to garden. You have way too many gardening tools and all the things you're not using. But again, identity. So I want you to remember this. You are still that person. You do not need all the physical items to prove to yourself that you're that person or to prove to other people. You can be a crafter without having to keep every craft supply. You can be a book lover and well read without having to keep every single book. You can be an amazing mother without having to keep every baby and toddler item. You are not going to forget. You are not going to lose that part of you. That is your identity for life. You are still a champion skier without having to keep your broken skis that you no longer use. Your identity is in you. You do not need the physical items to reinforce that. And sometimes we just need to make that mental connection, because most of the time we're not even aware of why it's hard. We don't even realize that it's identity clutter. We just see it and we feel all the emotions. And we're like, I could never let go of that. But we're not really sure why or where those emotions are coming from, why it feels so hard. And when we can have that self awareness of, oh, this is identity clutter. This is an extension of me and the thing that I'm so proud of about myself. This feels like a piece of my soul. When we can identify that, we can rationalize now and we can actually logically look at it differently and make real decisions and let things go that don't matter, realizing that we are still keeping the stuff that does and we are not losing our identity. I had one client who really prided herself on being a fashionista. Is somebody saying that right? Like she loved clothes. She loved buying name brand clothes. She looked great. And her closet was bursting. And a lot of that clothes that she had, she didn't wear. She didn't even necessarily like, but she was like paralyzed when it came to letting go of clothing. Paralyzed. She had no room. She had like, it was taking over her house. All her closets were filled or extra closets. It was affecting her relationship. Her husband was really upset because it was just a disaster. Plus, it was hard for her to get ready and find the clothes that she actually liked and enjoy the getting dressed process because of the excess. It was taking away from the things she loved. And yet she knew this. She knew that she had too many and had to let go of a lot of clothes. And yet cried her eyeballs out at the idea of even letting one piece go. And it wasn't until we talked about the identity portion, it wasn't until she really understood the why this is hard that it became easier because she still like has great fashion and she still can look amazing and she can still pride herself on someone to put together an incredible outfit. That is always part of her. That is a gift. That is her talent. That is her identity. She does not need to keep every article of clothing to be that. And so we just did some exercises of her saying it out loud and like, I am good at this, building that confidence in herself. I don't need to keep everything that I've ever bought with clothing to have really good fashion sense, to be able to put together a great outfit. In fact, I can be better at this with less. And it was this incredible click in her brain. And once she realized why it was hard and where it was coming from, she started filling bags and boxes with donations of things that could go. You can have the exact same results. It's all about getting to your why. It's all about that self-awareness that comes from really knowing yourself and why you're struggling in the first place. Let's talk about another type of clutter that perhaps you struggle with, a lot of people struggle with, and it's very close to identity clutter. Again, while you're listening to this, though, I hope you're still taking action. What are you doing, man? What can you do right now to make your life easier tomorrow? Can we put away a load of laundry? Can you pick up the dirty dishes? Can you vacuum the floor? What can you do? Decluttering something, getting things out of your house forever is the most impactful thing that you can do because it's something you don't have to redo tomorrow. When the stuff's gone, it's gone. It's not coming back. And yes, slowly things will come back in, but every time you can get stuff out, your life is easier. Old blankets, clothes you're not wearing, we are not making a mess. We are not making piles. We are just making things better. Better, friends, and stacking tidy and shoving things. And that is great, but it is not a long term solution. A long term solution is less. Getting things out, making those hard decisions. Maybe you've identified some identity clutter. You feeling brave right now? Are there things that you can let go of right now when you feel the motivation? I promise you, you will not regret it. Please trust me. Trust me. and trust yourself. You know deep down you don't need it. Do not let fear and anxiety control you. You can do hard things. And every time you do this hard thing, it gets easier the next time. Show yourself, prove to yourself that you can do this and you trust yourself when it comes to decluttering and letting go. Trust yourself. You got this, friends. In the bag, in the box, get it out. Okay, let's talk about another type of clutter. It's really, really common, and it's quite similar to identity clutter. And sometimes this can overlap in some ways, but I'm just going to talk about it and let's see if this rings true for you and if this is something you struggle with. Fantasy clutter is things that we buy or bring into our home because we have the best intentions of doing something with it. I do this a lot. I'm a big sucker for fantasy clutter. There was a time I was like, I'm going to be a mini homesteader, and I bought all the supplies to make sourdough bread. I didn't even ask myself, do you like sourdough bread? Turns out I hate the taste. Blech, hate it. Can't stand it. But bought everything to make it. Right? I do this a lot with craft supplies. I consider myself a crafter, but then I'll go out and I'll be like, maybe I'll get into pottery and I get all the supplies for that. Or maybe I'm going to get into knitting, or maybe I'm going to get into making stained glass. And I get the supplies because future Cass is amazing and going to do all these incredible things. Bought a bunch of yoga gear and a bunch of yoga mats. Oh my God, I'm really good at getting the supplies for hobbies. Fantasy clutter. Wouldn't it be great if I could be this person over here, or I could do these cool things? And before we actually start and see if we like those things, we often get the supplies. And then we never actually get around to doing those things. And the issue with fantasy clutter is it would be so great to be that person, or to have the time, or to want to do those cool things. But for whatever reason, we don't. But letting it go feels like we're admitting defeat. It feels like we're giving up on a dream. And what if tomorrow we feel more motivated to do it? What if tomorrow we have more time, or a week from now, or a month from now? Then we'd have to go out and rebuy it all over again. And in my experience, what I've actually found to be the truth is it's probably just not really your thing. That's why you're not doing it. It's not really your thing. You want it to be your thing, but it doesn't fire you up. It doesn't get you excited. You don't enjoy doing that. And you're not going to have like a brain transplant and be a different person tomorrow. And this can go for workout gear too. You're like, I'm going to get in shape. And I buy all the things. I buy the ab roller. I buy the mini Stairmaster. I get all these things. In theory, we're going to be like the most amazing person tomorrow. But today, we look at that stuff and what do we feel? Guilt and shame. Because we're not this person that we fantasize we're going to be. And we're reminded of that by this stuff. We're reminded of our failures every day when we look at that fantasy clutter. It's tough. This one is tough. Because how do you know if you're going to be that person tomorrow or next week? How do you know if you just haven't got around to it because this phase of your life is just really hard and maybe the next phase will be easier? Or how do you know if it's literally just fantasy and you're never going to do it and it's just reminding you of like your suckage? Basically, like, this is hard. This is hard for me. And I can't tell you which is it. But here's what I can tell you to make it easier. When you look at that stuff, if your initial gut reaction is shame and guilt, shame for not using it and guilt for the money that you spent, I don't care if you're a different person tomorrow, that crap is toxic. It is a bully. and it's making you feel bad about yourself. And fantasy clutter, more than any other type of clutter, actually steals your motivation. It does. You like it takes from you, it zaps your energy because it makes you feel bad about yourself. You could have piles of clutter everywhere and all these things. And yeah, that also makes you feel bad about yourself and it makes you feel overwhelmed. But fantasy clutter, the things you bought because you had the best intentions of being the best version of yourself, and you just, for whatever reason, didn't follow through and didn't do it, that stuff is so toxic. It's like hazardous waste in your home because of what it does to your self esteem when you look at that. Because you feel like you're not measuring up to the person that you think you should be. It doesn't allow you to be happy and proud of the person you are today because it's like it's reminding you of a better version that you should be tomorrow. Toxic. And I struggle with this because I have ADHD, because I'm very impulsive. Anytime I see something that's like, oh, I would love to do that. I would love to be that person. I'm watching TikTok and I'm like, oh, look at that. Oh, oh, I'm going to buy this because it's going to, have the same effect for me. And then it doesn't, or I don't use it, or I don't like it. Ugh. It's like a punch in the gut every time I look at it, not only because I wasted the money and I feel shame for that, but I feel shame for not being that person that that item promised me I could be. Guys, this could be makeup. This could be hair products. This is two of the big ones for me. I buy all these rollers or I buy these special things and I'm going to curl my hair and it's going to like look so great. And then I never actually do that because I'm putting it up in a clip because I just am not the person to do my hair every day like that. And then I look at that and I'm like, oh yeah, my hair's so bad and crappy. I wish I used that. I wish I'd made time I wish I wasn't so lazy. I wish I worked on my appearance. If that wasn't in my house, I wouldn't have that thought. You know? It's little mini bullies all over, disguised as fantasy, disguised as tomorrow I'm going to be better. And this one's really tough, friends. But again, letting go of these type of things starts with the self-awareness of why it's hard in the first place. Man, we got to do some work here, don't we? On ourselves, on our inner selves. It's kind of like decluttering is a lot like therapy. Oh my gosh, it's basically is therapy. It's a form of therapy because we learn so much about ourselves. And I cry when I let go sometimes, but it's about growth. It's personal development. It's really understanding ourselves on a fundamental, deep level so that we can be better, so that we can be happier, so we can really love who we are today. Decluttering is a form of self-love and self-respect. Yep, I said I was going to be a person who did stained glass. Yeah, I bought all the supplies, but you know what? I'm just not that person, and that's okay. And it wasn't a waste because I learned about myself. I learned that that's not me, and I'm enough with who I am today. And I have new things that I can discover that maybe I'll like more. That's what life is. It's a journey of discovering and finding new things that you love doing. And that one isn't it. And that's okay. Doesn't mean you failed, friend. You are not, it's not a failure. And we're letting it go so it doesn't bully us, so we can open up our homes and open up ourselves to new opportunities that maybe are our jam. Maybe it's pickleball. I don't know. Everybody always tells me I need to do pickleball. That's why I'm throwing that out there. But whatever it is, we can't be open to new when we're always holding on to these things that are like, ooh, I shouldn't try this because I haven't tried this yet. I bought the supplies for this. So even though I don't like it and don't enjoy it and don't feel motivated to do it, I can't try anything else. What? These are roadblocks. These are roadblocks to the amazing you that you want to be. Don't feel bad. They gots to go. Self love, self respect. Okay, I'm going to let you go. I love spending time with you today. I hope you got something done and you're proud. You're proud of the progress that you made today. It doesn't have to be completed, doesn't have to be perfect. That's not what this is about. It's progress and only progress. Look what you did today. Good job. Be proud. That's one less thing you have to do tomorrow. It's a gift to today and it's a gift to tomorrow you because you deserve it. You deserve a clutter free, easy home that's clean. You deserve a space that when you walk in every room, you think, ah, this is nice. You deserve that. You deserve your home to feel like a vacation, not a part time job. You deserve that, friend. And yeah, you got to work to get it there. But the more you declutter, the less work it is. The more you let go of, the more you streamline, the more you do a little bit every day, the easier it is to live that way. I wish we all had maids that did it for us. And I know that's not a reality, but you know what? We have shortcuts that we can take. We can have it all. You can have it all. Okay. I love you so much. You did a great job today, and I'll see you guys next time.